Ciao and welcome back to Tortellino time. We were back from Sicily yesterday and I brought back with me some eggplants, very large ones. I cooked the first one yesterday and I did them in the oven first, and then I shallow fried them with some egg and some breadcrumbs marinated in cheese and so on. And during the video I said that I would be cooking the second one, which is the larger one today, and I explained that I have a little idea, a little playful idea, where my plan is to cut this in half this way and then remove some of the middle and cook a typical Sicilian recipe using some typical Sicilian pasta. I've got here some anelli siciliani, which anelli stands for rings, and you will have guessed why, because the pasta is in the shape of little rings, and this is a very, very traditional pasta. You do not have to use anelli siciliani if you cannot get hold of it, because clearly it's not that easy. You can use any type of pasta you like, but obviously if you're able to get hold of this, ideal, because you will be replicating the real authentic recipe. You saw me bashing some frozen soffritto, which consists of chopped carrots, chopped onions and chopped celery. Here it is. It's still frozen. I keep mine in the freezer, as I bought this when vegetables were on offer at Christmas time, not Easter time, and then I use it throughout the year. So I'm gonna use a good couple of handfuls. So if you were to use fresh ingredients, you can replicate this with one large onion, one stick of celery, and two large carrots as well. I'll turn the temperature slightly down as it is going well. I've applied a little olive oil. My soffritto is frozen, so it's going to take a little longer. If you were to use fresh ingredients, a little less, but enough until all of the vegetables have softened up. This recipe will be enough to feed 3 people. By the time I will have stuffed my eggplant, the likelihood is that I will have some left, and I will do some conventional pasta also using a normal oven tray. These are 300 grams of mince. This is beef mince. Traditionally you can also use a mixture between pork and beef if you wish, but I stick into beef mince today, mostly because I don't have any pork beef or pork mince, so that's perfectly okay. And this is one of the more critical parts of making a pasta sauce. Ensure that the mince is totally cooked before you progress any further. So I'll just turn the temperature slightly up and I'll mix it in until it's properly cooked and lovely and golden in color. And you will notice that as you cook your mince, the bottom of your pan start collecting this little crust. Do not panic, you're not burning it. Actually, that is gold, because that has got so much flavor, and I will be deglazing it in a moment by adding a little wine, and that will release such a beautiful flavor to the entire dish. And there we go, we're ready. Look, can you see that the meat is all brown? Perfect timing. I can now add my wine. This is white. You can also use red, but you can see that I'm only adding a third of a glass for the quantity of mince that I'm actually cooking. And as soon as the wine starts boiling, I'll go with my wooden spoon and scratch the bottom of the pan to ensure that that crust is released with the rest of the ingredients. You can see it's clean as a whistle. So I'll leave it now for the alcohol element from the wine to evaporate. And I've been thinking about this for quite a while, so let's deal with the eggplant. I said that it will be a vessel, so the first thing I want to do is to slice it in half. I'm using a bread knife as this is going to be far more convenient than anything else. So I'll just do a clean cut in the middle like this, and I will end up with 2 halves. Oh, look at this, it's beautiful. Now you might have noticed that there is a little part here which is not good, so I'm going to remove that now so that I can forget about it. So if you've got an eggplant in the fridge which looks like it might show signs of deterioration, it's perfectly normal, but all you need to do, don't throw it away, just go along and remove it, and that's fine. Now my vision is for this to sit as a vessel, so at the moment it's all over the place. I'm going to remove part of the base so that it gives me a steady base for it to sit on, so something like this, and I'll do the same here, the one which has been under surgery, and I'll cut a little piece so that they stay steady. I'm now going through with a paring knife, and I've cut a line to go through the circumference of my eggplant, leaving approximately 1 centimeter, but I didn't go all the way down. So I now need to remove this part. I'll just try with my hands to see if it's gonna be easy. If not, I might have to cut it a little bit further. Let's have a look. Yeah, if you are going to replicate this, it's quite straightforward. It has come up quite easily. It hasn't got to be perfect, as this will be filled with pasta, and this will be part of the filling. So I'll do the same with the second piece. Obviously I need to be careful with this part. So go all the way around, leaving 1 centimeter from the edge. I'll go twice so that it's properly dislodged. I suppose if I wanted to make sure, I could do this. Good, it's coming off quite easily, and here's the last part. I'm now going in with a spoon to ensure that I get as big a cavity as possible, as this will be filled with pasta, and actually it's really simple. You can see that it comes off quite easily. And with these ones, as they are, I'll place them this way down inside an oven tray, and they'll go in the oven for approximately 20 minutes at a temperature of 180 degrees. I'm now chopping the inside of my eggplant in little cubes, tiny little pieces, approximately between half a centimeter to 1 centimeter in pieces. I want this to be really small, as it will be cooking in a moment with the rest of the mince, and the smaller the better. Generally, if you're making a Sicilian pasta bake, you would cook this separately, you would fry it separately, and then you would add it at the end. But I'm trying to make this dish a little bit simpler, so that I don't have to do two different cooking sessions. So I will add that to my mince now. These are the little slices I removed at the beginning to ensure that the base is flat. They can go in also. And I'll give everything a good mix so that my eggplants are covered in the flavour from the mince. I just turn the temperature up, by the way, and I'll place the lid on, and I'll turn the temperature down again on medium, and I will leave now the eggplant to cook with the lid on for about 10 minutes, and during this time it will absorb the flavour from all of the other ingredients, but also it will soften up. No need to cook it separately. Here we go. You can see how much they have decreased in volume by, and they are almost cooked. And don't worry, they will be cooking further now. So I'll start by adding a level dessert spoon of tomato puree and mix it in, followed by some tomato passata. I've just added the equivalent of 250 milliliters glass of water to the inside of my tomato passata. I need some water, so I might just as well rinse the carton. There it goes. Followed by salt and pepper. I've turned the temperature up once again, but it's beginning to boil, so I'll turn it down, giving it a good mix, and I'll place the lid on, and I'll leave it to gently cook now for 20 minutes. Nearly there. So the sauce is almost cooked. Let's take a look. Perfect. Look at this. Has then snapped a little, which is great. Peas, I'm adding them now, and they will only take about 5 minutes, by the way. So I'll mix them in. Perfect. I'll place the lid on, but I'll leave it slightly ajar so that some of the water evaporates. 5 minutes. And this is what your sauce should look like. You can see that a lot of the liquid has evaporated. Before I go any further, a little tip, as well as something nice. Taste it. It's very nice, but needs a little salt. Always add salt to finish at the end, rather than a lot when you're starting, so that you can regulate it, and that will be perfectly okay. So I'm now cooking the pasta. I'll go and drain it, and then we can put it together. Little tip, by the way, for this recipe, whatever type of pasta you use, make sure that you only cook it for 3/4 of the required cooking time. This one takes about 7 to 8 minutes. I only cooked for 5 minutes because it will finish cooking in the oven. Do not overcook it, otherwise you will end up with something which is a little bit too gluey. At the moment it's not eatable because clearly it's not even al dente, but that is a very a very good tip I can share with you. And I'll start by adding 3 heaped spoons of my sauce. Mix it in. I'm only using cheddar today as I want this dish to be a little bit more affordable, and I'm aware that sometimes Grana Padano or Parmigiano, they can be a little bit more expensive. So I've grated some cheddar and I'm mixing it in now that it's still hot so that it'll melt. I think I'm going to add one more. And here are my eggplants, which have cooled down slightly, and here they are. I'm going to turn them around now. Yeah, they should dislodge quite easily because they have cooled down. And here is number 1 and here is number 2. I'm going to leave them in the same tray. Also, I am aware that I'm going to need an extra oven dish. So this is what you can do if you didn't want to replicate what I'm doing with the eggplants. So just use a normal oven dish. And I'm going to start by applying a little olive oil at the bottom of my eggplants and my oven dish. I'll quickly spread it using a brush, and I'll do the same over here. Over here I'll also go on the sides, by the way. And I'll follow the Sicilian rules, so breadcrumbs, just a little at the bottom, over here, and also in my oven dish. However, with my oven dish, bearing in mind that I can do this, I'll make sure that the sides are also covered. And I'll start filling everything up. 1 and 2, and I'll put 1 in here also, actually a couple here most probably. A quick press. Perfect. These are hard-boiled eggs. If you like eggs, put them in. You will not regret it. If you are so-so about eggs, put them in. You will like them. Obviously, if you don't like eggs, don't put them in at all. You don't have to. But they do actually add a beautiful flavor to this typical Sicilian dish, and eggs are a must if you eat this in Sicily. But obviously, if you don't like them, don't put them in. I've also chopped some cheddar in cubes, and I'm going to put that in between, over here, and some over here. So if you were in Sicily, they would have used something like caciocavallo or provola affumicata, which is a type of smoked cheese. But I think cheddar is quite nice also. This is mature, so it will release a nice flavor. And I'm going to add now another layer of my pasta, and I'll do the same over here. And I'll tap it nice and firmly, and I'll do the same over here. Followed by another layer of my sauce, 1 over here, 1 over here, and couple over here. Perfect. Actually, I've got some left over, so I'll place it all over here so that I don't end up freezing a small amount of sauce. And I'll go back and press it down with my spoon once again, and do this over here also. This is going to be a little bit of a monster in terms of mince. I've got some cheese left over here, so I'm going to mix it together and place it on top of all of my pasta there and here. As always, the quantity of cheese you put in pasta bake is entirely up to you, different types. But if you want to literally replicate the Sicilian recipe, you need to finish the way you started. So a little breadcrumbs on top. Not a lot, otherwise it will absorb too much of the sauce. And the purpose here is to give it a nice crunchy finish at the top. And in contact with the heat, the breadcrumbs will caramelize and they will look beautiful, just like this. And see if you can guess what's coming next. 1 final drizzle of olive oil all over my eggplants and also my pasta bake over here. And they're ready to go in the oven. Same temperature, 180 degrees, fan assisted, 200 if it's a normal conventional oven, for 30 minutes. You do not need to cover them. I'll see you then. Oh, hot. Oh, look at this. Looking wonderful. That's 1. And Here's my other one. I want to show you something. Listen, hopefully be able to hear it. I think it's wonderful. It's one of the sounds that I really love when food is out of the oven and it's making that sizzling noise. I'll do it again. Hopefully you'll be able to pick it up. But of course everything is piping hot. So I'm going to leave it for about 10 minutes, maybe 15, and then we can have a look. See you then. Time to taste our creation, the most exciting part. So let's see how this holds. Oh, it's pretty good, look. Wonderful. There. Just move this out of the way and ooh, be hot. And let's have a look at the one in the little oven dish. Of course, we're not going to manage to eat all of this tonight. So the likelihood is that Julie and I will share one of these, half each, and then we will have some of these also. And of course you can freeze the rest, by the way. Just place it either inside a Tupperware container or some aluminium paper, and when you defrost it, place it in the fridge overnight and then allow it to defrost naturally. And personally, I think the best way to reheat it is to place it in the microwave, and then it will come out almost as good as new. Let's move this forward a bit. I always think this is the real test. Being able to remove a nice looking portion of pasta bake without making a mess. Let's have a look. There it is. It's not going to come out perfectly okay, but it's not bad at all actually. There. Wonderful. And in it goes. So that's dinner, and this is for the freezer. Let me test this first, and then we'll see what it's like. Oh, it's good. Before I go any further though, I'll just move this out of the way. Let me see if I can cut this in half and see what we have. And that's the crunchiness from the breadcrumbs, by the way. Of course, this is not a very conventional way of cooking Sicilian pasta bake. This is me getting creative in the kitchen because of the size of the eggplant. But oh, look at this. It's wonderful. Right, enough of the talking. Let's get on with it. I suspect this is going to be a little bit more flavorful because of the eggplant. Oh, it's wonderful. The eggplant vessel provides so much more flavor than this is lovely, but you can imagine. Well, hopefully I've managed to entertain you with my creation, and as always say, grazie and buon appetito. Thank you for watching. Bye bye.